Attention listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston, do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS, TAGS. What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 292. I'm your host, Steve V, alongside Lincoln, fresh out of his class. How are you, Lincoln?
Good. Worked out and ready to rumble.
I love it. I love it. Nice to hear that. Joining us today is TAGS Live co-host, Cody Maurice Doggett. How are you?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. It's so nice to speak to you guys on this Monday evening.
Nice.
Yeah. We all survived the torrential storms that made its way.
Barely, bitch. Barely.
I know.
Were you guys out in it?
I stayed put, but Cody was out a little bit. Yes,
I worked. Yeah, in the pouring rain, I worked, and it was not fun. Let me tell you that. But I'm here. We made it.
You made it.
Lincoln, did you get caught in it?
No, not at all. We came home on Saturday, and we did not get out of bed until Monday.
Oh my God.
Which was great. I haven't done that in a long time. And we're actually watching Sex and the City from the beginning to get ready for the reboot. So we did half of season 2, all of season 3, and like 3 episodes in season 4 all in one day.
Oh, nice. So you're just injecting Nicole Ari Parker into Samantha.
Yes.
Right? Fabulous.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun.
Cody and I were just talking about it on TAGS Live. And we are all for Nicole joining the ensemble. And I hope you are too. It sounds like you are if you're gearing up, Lincoln.
Totally. I just love the story no matter what they do. So I'm just in.
Me too.
I just want the story to continue. I don't care if I agree with stuff or... You know, there's some stuff back in season 2 that feels very politically incorrect. And then the next episode, they literally make it about being politically incorrect, which was fascinating. And way before 21 years ago, they're writing,
Has it been that long?
Since season 2. Yeah. Since season 1, it's longer because it was 98, I think, when it started.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's what's so interesting about this. I'm so for it myself as well. And changes happen in life. And so I just think for all the naysayers, or you can not go online without seeing, somebody trashing the new reboot. And it's like, yeah, but life changes and things move on. And so I'm excited to see how they're going to move on with it. But I love them. I know they're going to do a great job, and I'm all here for it. So yay. Maybe I'll do my marathon as well.
Yeah, we're gonna do every season, and then we're gonna do both movies, and we'll probably hit it right when it starts.
I love watching.
You guys be having like some sex of your own in the part 2, the second film.
I will say
you can take a lot of sex breaks in the second film.
I love that second film.
I would be taking a lot of sex breaks. And
what's funny is watching it back to back to back to back. I'm like, so straight people have sex. Why aren't there more gay storylines? So
yeah.
And the other thing I found very interesting, which you guys might be like, duh, they never deal with their parents.
Except for Miranda's mom when she passed away in the hospital.
Okay, I'm in the middle.
Carrie goes, you let me go on and on about my stupid date thing, and your mom's in the hospital, and so
you actually
Carrie,
see the mother?
That's what we do,
right?
No,
right.
we see her sister who's mad at Miranda for using her cell phone in the hospital. You can't use your cell phone in here. All right, I got it. And then she needs a black dress, and she asks. It's just this whole thing.
Now.
Well, the reason I say that is, first of all, it's all parental issues, right? So it was an interesting choice to not have any parents show up in any scene. And we
Yeah.
watched Charlotte get married to the first husband, which I can't remember his name at the moment. Kyle MacLachlan plays him. Remember, he's impotent.
Yeah, I
And,
remember.
and Charlotte walks down the aisle with some man. And it's just not even addressed. It's like there's no mother, they really focus just, I think, there was a decision made, like, we're just going to leave their parents out of it and live with them forward. So that it's just to go back and watch it back to back, you notice. And she says, just like that, all over the place.
Right.
Oh my God.
I know
it's
that.
like in every other episode. So that was interesting.
So funny. And then last thing, and then I swear we have a show for you. Season 1, I sort of liked it, and then I didn't like it, where they talk to the camera a lot, and they have a lot of
oh my God, that was horrible.
It was kind of horrible. I mean, it was fun at first, and then it was like, okay, I'm glad
it felt like a New York City play. Where they turned, it was much more theatrical back then. And then I think they got very influenced by Ally McBeal, because that's when it all went into the head voice
narration.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, well, let's get into the show here. Science is proving to be our friend these days, because there's 2 stories. One, a possible HIV treatment cure for HIV, and I'm going to talk about some of the vaccines in the work, but possibly the most exciting news is that there's a possible treatment in the works, and even better, it's going so well that the human trials want more patients. And this is by a Maryland biotech company called American Gene Technologies, who are currently developing a cure for HIV. And recently, the company announced that the safety data in its phase 1 trial, AGT 103-T, showed no adverse effects. Because of this, the FDA's Data and Safety Monitoring Board voted unanimously to continue the program without any modifications. This is like huge, that it's kind of a milestone for that there could actually be this cure for HIV, which is really breakthrough. The other story, and then we'll weigh in, is Moderna, which is the shot I got, the jab, as people like to say. In a major HIV research update, biotech company Moderna will begin human trials of their HIV vaccine this week. And this is according to Newsweek, but the company will be using the same mRNA platform and technology as they use for COVID-19 vaccine. And Moderna has 2 HIV vaccine candidates, and they list them both, both of which have cleared initial safety testing before being used on humans for the first time. The trials will include 56 HIV-negative participants between the ages of 18 and 56. And the article I was quoting says, let's keep our fingers crossed, which I totally agree. Yeah. This is the good news, right, Lincoln, that you could get in the name of vaccines, you could get a vaccine that hopefully could prevent HIV in the coming years, or that there could be an actual cure. What are your thoughts?
It's great. I mean, it's so exciting. Prior to COVID, it felt like HIV was over. It felt like HIV was over with the PrEP pill, and so many people taking that, and the antiviral, people being undetectable, and it just felt like normalcy again. And I think this is the next step in that. It's so exciting. I have a friend named Tom in San Francisco that was part of the original testing to cure HIV in him, and all the posts I see on Facebook are really positive and really great. So here, let's do it. Huzzah.
Yeah, and Cody, it's interesting because just today Pfizer announced that the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine for COVID, which is a huge breakthrough for so many people that are still on the fence, that now we have some proof. And do you think with Moderna stepping into an HIV vaccine and with possible cure for HIV, that science is in our favor as our community goes?
Oh, for sure. I'm just so happy that something good finally came out of this pandemic. Can you imagine that the cure for or vaccine for HIV is coming from the pandemic and the research and all the things that we learned from studying the pandemic, the COVID.
Yeah, it's because we recently talked about another study going on about instead of a daily Truvada pill, a once a month pill, which I think is breakthrough. I don't know which it's kind of the race of science, right? I mean, obviously, I guess we'd rather take the like a vaccine if you could over a daily pill of preventative measures, but I guess it's going to be the race in science. I'm not sure how that will all play out, but it's exciting and I'm
Well,
all
For
here
sure.
for it.
Definitely
what
looking
I
Yeah.
forward
wanted,
to it.
what I think is so interesting to push to say what Cody said, we learned so much on how to fight the vaccine from all of the AIDS research before, right? Because people
Okay.
were
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like I personally felt like, hey, we've been through this before. I saw people dying all around me. And then Dr. Fauci was a huge part of the HIV research and fighting with the Reagan administration and fighting with what's his name who wrote the play. Um,
Oh,
help me.
Yes.
He
oh my
would they would
gosh.
banter back and forth, and he really pushed back on Dr. Fauci, but respected him at
Angels
the
in
same time.
America? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
No. Mm.
gosh darn it.
It's
We will
okay.
think
It'll
of
come
this.
back to you. Well,
Yes.
I'll find
So
that and edit that in.
I think it's great. I think it's great that we're on the flip side, and now the research from COVID is benefiting us again. It's all the same kind of mix. So
yeah. So
amazing.
I guess one hand is washing the other in this respect because we
Yeah,
learned so much from studying AIDS and then we learned so much from battling COVID. So
Yeah.
it's,
a normal heart.
oh, there it is. Okay.
But
Yeah.
what's his name?
All right, let me look it up,
Okay, we're gonna look it up. Hey,
people.
yay! Everyone, stay
Right
with us. No, I want to
on.
get it before you look it up. I am smart.
Oh, I got it here if you're ready, but if you want
Go
to,
ahead. No, do it.
Larry Kramer.
Yay, Larry Kramer.
Ah, there it
All
is.
right, yay.
We did it.
We all know it now.
Nice. Well,
We
I'm all
won't forget
excited
it in
about
4 minutes. Don't worry.
Yes, we
That's
will.
how Google
yeah,
works. Google doesn't make
right.
you
In
smart.
and out, just like a good pumping. All right,
Hey.
well, let us move on. Obviously, we will be talking about the hot topic of what might be the year OnlyFans in just a bit. We're going to do some foreplay here and get you ready for it.
Ooh, look me up.
First of
Thank you.
all, I couldn't help. There is a TikTok user. He goes by the name Mason or Jock College Bro at Jock College Bro. He does a lot of films, porn films for Fraternity X, and he decided to spill some tea recently on what it's like to work on some of these films. And he said, obviously all porn is fabricated, and he usually plays a douchey frat guy, and there's usually several 12, 16, 20 guys in one house where they film, and they
Okay.
do a lot of he obviously says the funniest parts are the script because they're playing these somewhat douchey frat guys. I've seen them. You've seen these,
Oh,
I'm
of course.
sure,
And you're
pass
just
by
ruining my
them.
fantasy, by the way.
Okay, well, oh god, I've always overlooked them because sorry people, but I've never been into the frat system that much, and I just thought I don't know, but I can see where it could be hot in other regards, and so he was spilling some tea on his TikTok, and one of the things he said. So when they're all in the house, what do they do? Well, they swim. It's usually a beautiful house. They smoke a little. I'm assuming he meant pot. They cook, and that's it. But the things he said do not do is do not choose to have a cuddle buddy for the week because it will
What?
create major drama for the house. That was the first one, and then I'll read the second one and we'll talk about these. His other tip is Imodium is your best friend.
Oh my goodness.
So let's take the first one.
This is a lot to
How
unpack.
hard?
I don't
Yeah.
understand. Okay. keep
Okay,
going.
so let's take the first one. Do you agree, Cody, that if you were on a porn set, I mean, we love to think of these things as it would be so fun and hot, but they are working.
Oh, for
And
sure.
we're going to talk a little bit about the seriousness of sex work in another topic in a minute.
Okay.
But They are working, and I think, but like Hollywood, there's always a romance that happens on set. Would you be inclined to want to have a cuddle buddy or just a romance on set, or would you take his advice and keep it out? Like, no, no way.
So, okay, I've thought about this, and
For
in
2 seconds,
in the
and
3 seconds since you introduced it, and I've already come up with the solution. I'm a problem solver, people. Okay, that's my
okay.
predominant. Just have multiple cuddle buddies. Switch jump beds every single night. That way, it doesn't promote any jealousy, and everybody feels seen and special and lovely. And I think that's the solution.
You sound like you're making it Big Brother, which is gonna be like drama. Like, who has Cody slept with next? I thought he was my boy. What? He promised me.
No, you get like a sheet and you say, okay, this week John is sleeping with James and Dante is sleeping with Barry. I don't know. And just have something so that everybody can feel seen and special.
You know, it's interesting because Lincoln, you'll like this. When I worked on as an extra or a dancer on Madonna's American Life video that never really made it to her videos because of the Iraq war, but it was a huge set and we were on it for 3 days, and in that 3 days I met this other dancer guy and we hit it off, and we were more friendly on set, and he would give me rides home because my car wasn't working at the time, my Honda Civic, always in the shop. And but I will say, as much as we had lunch together at craft service, and I think I was a little blind to it, our romance came after the set was wrapped. And so that I think is a good way, but it's not the greatest idea. Would you agree, Lincoln, to hook up with people on set,
Well,
particularly in a porn?
I don't know. I've done film and I've done a lot of theater, and everyone, when you do a show and you have 8 weeks that you're running a show, you know how many performances a week, everyone's cuddling, people are closer,
It's a
there's
family, right?
relationships. It really is a family. You're all kind of in the common energy of producing this work of art, whether it's theater or porn or a project of, you know what I mean? So I mean, when I built out the bakery, the guys who did all the work, we were like, I brought food every day. It was like family. So if
But family is one thing, but hooking up and sexually
well,
could create
could
drama.
it? We're not going to hook up while I'm building the bakery, but people who are
No.
at theater might end up hooking up and becoming married, and people who do porn might end up hooking up with everyone because you're doing porn.
I mean,
So
that's
to
what I
me,
was
it's
going to
not that
say,
big of a
because
stretch.
eventually they're going to be sleeping together.
Yeah,
Everybody's
like,
going to be sleeping with everybody. So what is? I
Yeah.
don't see.
You know what? Actually, I don't know what the problem is,
I don't
really.
either. Like if that's
Because Andrew Reynolds, who I adore, the actor Andrew Reynolds, was hooked up, and now they're boyfriends with his co-star. I can't remember his name, but it was for the play on Broadway, the reboot of oh my gosh, the
Charlie
old.
Carver, was it the young
No, I
guy?
love Charlie Carver. It
Okay.
was his other co-star. And I can't remember, but he was just talking about that whole intimacy that can ensue, and how many relationships he actually has had because it happens on set. But this one's a winner for him. And so, yeah, I don't know what he means. Maybe it's the nature of the frat X set that isn't great. But moving on, though, to Imodium is your best friend. I had to look it up because I was like, is that like an aspirin thing? Or which I don't take any of those things. I don't, but it's like, no, it's to prevent diarrhea.
Oh my goodness!
well,
Now
you guys know
I
what
understand.
Imodium is. No,
Imodium is to
I've never
prevent
taken it.
diarrhea. I
it's the
looked
same
that up.
thing that's in the bottoming pill.
Imodium?
Yeah,
There's
the
a bottoming pill.
Yeah, Pure. Isn't what's it called? What's the bottoming pill?
No,
Pure.
Pure, which has been our sponsor on, is
Yeah,
based on
Pure's been our
fiber.
sponsor here. So Pure is like the all natural Imodium. You always know that if you're like in
No, I think they're two
down-
different things. I think the Pure, you're right, is you take it in advance
same with
because
Imodium.
Imodium is stopping you, preventing you from diarrhea, and I think more like holding everything in so that you don't have an accident. And that's
Correct.
why a lot of them take it. The other one is fibrous and you take it in advance, so you
Exactly.
flush out.
Correct.
The opposite. One's healthier and just natural elimination, and the other one's blocking you up, I think, so that you don't have any potential accidents, which I don't think could be a healthy thing. Have you heard of this, Cody?
I actually have.
So
Of course
this
you
is
have.
like Party Weekend 101. You don't
Yeah.
eat, you
I-
drink a protein shake, you take an Imodium, you don't go to the bathroom really again until after everything's over. And you don't worry about
Exactly.
anything.
Ooh,
This
friend
is
of a
like
friend.
101.
I would rather do our former sponsor and just eliminate fibrously.
Well, you kind of do them in conjunction. You let everything go and let everything
Then
get
you eat
out, and then
salad.
just in case,
And
you
then
take an
during the
Imodium
party,
so
you take an
nothing's happened.
Imodium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that nothing can happen just in case, especially if there's
Okay.
other things in your system. And if you do need to go, it's very solid and one is done. One and done.
Okay. Well,
Does that
then
make
I
sense?
like that whole recipe thing.
Yeah.
And if next year's MAL is on, I might practice this party recipe. I like it.
Yeah. Oh,
And
definitely. And when you go to
And
the
we're not
bathroom, it's
recommending
like,
it, people out there. Just FYI, we are not doctors, and we are not recommending it. It's just right, people. But
don't
we don't wanna
overdo
get-
it with the Imodium, guys.
No,
never overdo.
and
Well, it's
yeah.
balance. It's just information.
It's information and what the boys are doing. And I
Right.
thought that was interesting. I'm always late to the table with this stuff, so it cracks me up. Hey guys, your buddy Steve V here, host of Tags Podcast. And I was just thinking about the time I was in the bathtub dating this guy, asking him to shave my ass. And let me tell you, he was all about it. But when he was going down with the disposable blade, I was so freaked out. Like, what did I get myself into? It was so creepy, and I was so fearful that I had to stop the whole thing the minute I felt a nick. Oh my gosh. Well, now there is something out there that I don't even need somebody to do for me. I can do on my own. Are you ready for an out-of-the-world experience, guys? Well, you have to look no further than the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped that has just taken off in not only the USA, but Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore. And inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance Boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your whole solar system. First scheduled for liftoff, new Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. This spaceship is here to guide you on a journey to trim your body, balls, butt like I did, and even your anus. That's what I'm talking about. This 4th generation trimmer also features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 4000K LED spotlight you can turn on and off when needed for more precise shaving throughout your travels across the universe. And this Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker. It's kind of like having a little astronaut to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ear. The Weed Whacker is also waterproofed, and this nose and ear hair trimmer provides proprietary skin-safe technology, which also helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. Don't forget about the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver to help your little planets be on their A-games while feeling the sun's heat. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts from their Performance Package 4.0. I'm talking about the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Ready, guys? You can get 20% off plus free shipping by using our code here, TAGS, TAGS, by going to manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code TAGS at manscaped.com. For a clean trinity and beyond, your spaceballs will thank you. But we have to move on to, we all have heard by now that OnlyFans is getting rid of all porn-based content. And I could imagine Twitter has been blowing up, and it has. And there's so much to report. But I have some kind of newer information. They actually came on record and clearly said that it was banning sexually explicit content beginning October 1st. And then in a private message to users on the platform said it was not, OnlyFans said it was not banning sexually explicit content and that their statement to media outlets was not true. Okay. The soon to be, but I think it is.
I think it is too.
Yeah. And what they are saying as of yesterday, okay, OnlyFans has been forced to ban porn due to pressure from MasterCard and Visa, who threatened to stop processing payments for their porn sites after evangelical groups went to American politicians with false claims that OnlyFans was engaging in sex trafficking and child exploitation. Without the banks, as we know, no payments could be processed. OnlyFans allegedly couldn't exist. They had no choice but to capitulate. And some of the things that they went on record to say is do not upload, post, or display or publish content on OnlyFans that shows, promotes, advertises, or refers to sexually explicit conduct, which means actual or simulated sexual intercourse, including genital to genital, oral genital, or oral anal between persons of any sex. Also, actual or simulated masturbation, any exhibition of the anus or genitals of any person which is extreme or offensive.
No fun.
No fun. Yeah, no fun, people. Actual or simulated material depicting bodily fluids commonly secreted during sexual conduct. God, when you read it like that, it's so clinical, right?
Yeah.
No,
Gets all the fun out of it.
Takes all the fun out of it.
Right.
Yeah. And before I get like your guys's opinions on this, I looked at my phone the other day and I think it was Instinct Magazine was doing a Instagram live with oh my gosh, what's his name? I love him too.
It is the show of forgetting everyth's name.
It is.
know,
It
right?
is. Who's the guy that I had sex with, Cody, on my birthday?
Austin Wolf.
Thank you. What is the matter with me?
I do not
Austin Wolf went live and to talk specifically about this. And who knew this? He started his own a while ago for the number 4 my.fans.
Yep.
The number 4 my.fans. And so he was talking about this on how, you know, he saw this coming. And I guess a year or two ago, maybe a year ago, he started For My Fans. And it's essentially the same thing, but it's by a gay person. And he is telling everyone to come over to him. And he has like, when on Friday night, he had like 4 computers going and you can email him to get your content. But he said, do it sooner than later because he doesn't have like a ton of people, I'm assuming, because he said he will seamlessly take all of your content that's on the server for OnlyFans and move it over. But you can imagine the download, upload time frame that it could take for every person that wants to move over there. Hopefully he's got the bandwidth, but that's not going to be really easy.
Sounds like he needs to steal some workers from OnlyFans because they're gonna not have.
Yeah, and then some people were talking about moving over to just for fans.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was another controversy that was happening by a guy, Tanner. Let me just get his name, Tanner Reed, who I remember reporting on this, who called out the owner of Just for Fans, Dominic. Let me get his name here real quick here. Dominic, who he alleges took advantage of him one weekend, and there's a whole story on that. I will post that. Dominic Ford, who owns and runs, who is gay, but there's some controversy around Just for Fans. Ooh. I don't know what, Lincoln, when you hear all of this going on, what's your thoughts? And how do you feel about this all coming up? Are you surprised?
It feels a lot like the Tumblr world. Yeah. Remember when Tumblr pulled everything out and just basically now Tumblr is Pinterest. They're both the same thing, right? because
Pretty
there's no
much.
sex in Tumblr anymore.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's just pretty pictures like Pinterest. Um, I I feel bad for all the people that are out of work. I don't like censorship, but I also know it's a business. So something else will come up. You know what I mean? What I
Yeah.
don't like is all the bullshit negativity surrounding it. I don't like the people who aren't into OnlyFans or the people who judge sex workers going, ha ha,
Oh
you
yeah.
lost your way of
Oh, I
living,
wanted.
ha ha ha. Like that to me is just you're a moron and just put your
You know
platform
what? I
down.
was going to get to that in a second, but since you brought it up, thank you for bringing it up because Julian Torres, who's a performer, brings this up as well as many others because apparently, according to Julian and Twitter in general, a lot of people on Twitter just were like, said everything under the sun, like, oh,
Mhm.
see, we knew this was going to happen. There was all kinds of slut shaming going on. Uh, and Julian kind of points to the fact that I'm pretty sure that if you've jacked off to anything on Pornhub or any of the other sites before, you've participated in what we produce. And
That's
now
true.
when there's something seemingly going down with OnlyFans, now you're going to come for them and kick people kind of when they're down and essentially judge. And so I'm glad you brought that up because that is definitely apparently what happened online. Cody, what were your thoughts when you heard of this? There's a lot to unpack, and you
Yeah,
could
for
choose anything to
sure.
talk about. But
I
yeah,
just I just think that they're taking the easy route out. I think honestly, like to Lincoln's point, they should have saw what happened with Tumblr, and basically the whole thing is, from my understanding, is that they need to have a way to verify people's ages in order for them to that MasterCard came out, from my understanding, and stated that they needed to know people were of legal age. They didn't necessarily say for OnlyFans to take down all of the sexual activity on their site. They just need to know people are of legal age before they continue doing
initially, but
business.
not
Yes.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think they're taking the easy way out. I think they should have saw what happened with Tumblr and that whole kerfuffle, because who's on Tumblr now? Nobody's on Tumblr now.
right.
Nobody.
And kind of prepared for it a little bit more, and then they wouldn't be in the state that they're in, because they're going to go the way of Tumblr. I'm not going to go to OnlyFans anymore. That's the only
Well, who are
reason
you going to
anybody even
subscribe
knows.
to?
Exactly. That's the only reason that anybody even knows who OnlyFans is because of the sexual activity that goes on there. So,
Yeah, it seems definitely like a misstep, obviously, that things got out of hand. And I know that I was reading some things that their original intent was never to be in adult performers and
uh-huh.
having a platform for that. But I'm sorry, but when you started to get hundreds and thousands and make millions of
And
dollars
they
off
made
of
so
these
much
people, at what
money.
point? Yeah, and knowing, like everyone has stated, knowing the trajectory of what we've seen with Tumblr, and I can just say definitely with Patreon, when on our community, when I've tried to post some, just not even like, trying out some toys that have to relate to our sponsors
Okay.
and slammed, and I got like practically threatened that, and yet it was allowed before. And so I think we're seeing a shift definitely been going on. I think a lot of people like Austin Wolf, though. I think what
Uh-huh.
it's going to do is it's going to empower a lot of people in our community to create our own platforms that represent our own people and sex workers, because that's not going away anytime soon.
It definitely is
And
not.
I think I'm hoping that if you start a business early on, like a lot of websites, because there's a lot of sex websites that you can belong to that I'm sure take payment, that maybe it's just that OnlyFans presented itself as one thing for so
Yeah.
long. Now they're the ones that are known so much that it's got the evangelicals and the politicians to threaten them.
In
And
an
they're like,
uproar.
yeah, and they're like, but you guys didn't ever set out to do this, and now all of a sudden you're doing this, where maybe somebody like Austin Wolf's site and some of these other ones will thrive now, and it could be a good turning point.
My only problem with that, Steve, is that they will, like Austin Wolf will, but what about the little guys? This is like Etsy going down. There are people on Etsy that just sell a simple greeting card or a simple
bracelet.
candle. Yeah. So if there's some guy I know there's some guy in Mexico that I see that he's on OnlyFans through Twitter, and he's this cute guy that just likes to bounce around in his underwear, and he has like 8 million followers in an OnlyFans page. Is he also going to be able to turn it into the same? You know what I mean? The same thing that Austin Wolf would, or maybe some of the bigger names or the people that have been planning on this. It's sad that the little guys are gonna probably be more scrambling
like
than
perhaps
not.
your friend could that guy that you're referencing, if that doesn't sound like masturbation or anything like that.
Yeah, he might be able to stay. You're right.
He probably can
But again,
stay.
I've never. I'm the virgin on the panel, and that never happens with me. I do not have an OnlyFans page. I've never. Page, let alone account. Like, I've never given $1 to OnlyFans. I don't even. I would need to borrow someone's phone to see how it actually shows things, because I don't even have an account. So I missed the boat completely.
Right, but I do like your point, which was so valid, about the stigma of sex work, on how it's been around forever. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. We all seem to be into it in some way, shape, or form, and we're in this turning point. I can't help but stress that.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought up, Lincoln, about just the slut shaming, or this is, some people were saying a lot of, I know what this Julian Torres was saying. They said, now these people, there was a lot of this on Twitter, now these people can get a, quote, real job. How does that, I mean,
That makes me
That's
sick.
bullshit.
Seriously?
My God.
Especially during the pandemic. I think, listen, I want human connection more than anything. It's everything that I'm about right now, is us being safe, vaccinated, smart, and being able to come together face to face, all screens down.
Yes.
I want real communication face to face with people. And that's my passion right now. With the Delta variant, with all the other things going on, it's very, very hard. And OnlyFans and the services that those people provided really helped people out during the pandemic.
It really
I think
did.
a lot,
And
in many different ways.
I just want to say that the people that are saying that sex work isn't sex probably haven't had sex. So that's why they don't know that sex is work.
Right.
It's work. It's legitimate work. It's been around. It is a job. It's something. So it is a real job. And so
It really
can totally, no. Thank you, Julian, for saying that. All right. Let us know how you feel on that. You can always weigh in, DM us at TAGSPodcast on Instagram. We got to move on, though, because I want to get these other two topics in. Somebody wrote in recently, I can't wait to read this one. Hello, love your show. Recently single after a 3-year-long relationship. We moved to NYC for my job. Even though we were open, we were on different pages. I worked 60 plus hours a week, and my boyfriend wanted a hot vac summer in NYC. Okay, I want to talk about that in a second. Anyways, where he asked this, where's the best way to join sex positive parties and groups in the area? Have found those to be a great way to meet guys for friends and fun, and appreciate the advice. Jay, I will give you more of a list personally, because I know you're in New York, and I'll list them in just a second. But at first reading this, it was been in a long-term open relationship, but they're not on the same page. What are your thoughts about that, Lincoln, when you hear that, on just that in general? Because you're in a relationship, and I'm just curious what your thoughts on that.
If it works for them, it depends what works for them. You know what I mean? Like, I have been in open relationships, and then when they were over, I felt like it killed the relationship that we went that far. I've gone vacationing on my own with no relationship, and had a great time looking for parties and finding little dark corners of the universe to explore. Doing that with a boyfriend, Peter and I don't do that, but doing that with a boyfriend has been challenging because of jealousy and all that stuff. And and to take it out of it, going on vacation and me going and doing that while my partner goes and does something else seems unimaginable to me. But again, if it works for them, it works for them.
The
You know
more
what I
I
mean?
hear about, open relationships is I think I would have to play with my partner, and that would have to be after a minute. This is my current thought. That could change tomorrow, but
Yeah.
and the
Right.
reason why it's so funny because I was just watching the show I love. I was binge watching The Shy on Showtime. Just love this
I love
show.
that show.
Yes, and in the current season, it's so good, and it was interesting because a straight young married couple were exploring an open relationship. The guy had cheated on the wife the second time, and she came back and said, "You know what? I think we need to open this up." And what ensues in the storyline, and they play it out, and it's really good, and it's fun seeing a hetero couple play this out is they have to keep assessing
Mhm.
where each other is at because wait a minute, don't be with this bitch because she worked with me and do not mess with, and there's all these rules, regulations, and of course she's involved with one guy and he's like, you're not going to keep seeing him, are you? And she's like, do you want me having every dick in Chicago as well instead of just this? He's like, oh.
Wow.
And they have to, so I keep hearing stories like this on how, in this case, they moved here and one of them's working 60 plus hours and he's busy, even though he's in an open relation. The other one's ready to have his hot vac summer. So
Yeah.
different pages. Cody, what are your thoughts on that as being in a relationship?
I
It's a slippery slope, no?
It so is. That's the downfall of a relationship right there, not being on the same page as far as what is allowed in your relationship. Because as soon as you venture out of those boundaries that your partner has set up in his mind, that it breeds trust issues and things of that
Yep.
nature. And then it's just all downhill from there.
And you want to
Yeah.
be honest, you want to be open, but at the same time, you almost, if you don't know, then you don't go down that rabbit hole of, oh, was he better than, or you don't imagine it. You know
Oh
what I
my
mean? Like
God.
just the imagination alone. It's so funny because like I said earlier, I was watching Sex in the City back to back, and some of those situations, I remember being in those situations in my 20s or 30s and having so much anxiety about they're going to take my boyfriend away. He's hotter than I am. So much insecurity, so much what I call brain damage in the long run.
Wow.
But at the same time, when I was in my late 40s and single and saw people having sex with anyone, I felt so liberated and free and like
Yeah.
there is no drama. And I would see couples that could handle that and think that was so admirable. And I do wonder where they are because I'm not going to exaggerate and say now they're all broken up or now they're all still happily ever after. The ones I know are probably 50-50. So that's why I always bring it back to if it works for the two people that are in the relationship, that is truly all that's important.
I agree. And I think it's so easy to fall down that rabbit hole of brain damage where you think about your partner with somebody else and then you get all the jealousy wrapped up. It's just so easy to fall down that. So try
And
and
it's
avoid
such
it
a
as much as
double-edged
possible.
sword because that's also fantasy life.
It totally
Thinking of
is.
me and Peter having sex with 8 people all at the same time, I can get hard and come right now. But if we actually did it, it would cut it all at the knees.
It would bring up
Maybe.
things that you
Right. Or
didn't
maybe it
want to
would
think
liberate
about.
us both and we'd become closer than ever. I don't
And
know. I don't know. But what I do know is lately, when I put my money on something, I lose. So I'm not going
Uh-oh.
to risk it. It's too important. Oh, that's been
Uh-oh.
a long time. Ever since Hillary lost, I'm like, oh, that's going
oh
to
my
win, and it's
God.
the other side. Like it's
Well, I
my
will say that
mind on that is confused.
I will say we talk so much about the importance of communication. And I think when you're in open relationships or polyamorous as well, as we talk about on this show, communication is so key. And it's constant communication because I think things change and new people come into the mix. And I just had just to share a quick story of a friend of mine who's in a polyamorous long-term relationship shared with me that his boyfriend and him, outside of his husband, got together with the three of them got together, and the husband loved the boyfriend, and the three of them had an amazing time, even sexual time, lying around. And my friend that was sharing this with me was so
Mm-hmm.
happy and elated that his boyfriend and his husband actually all mesh so well, and so it can happen.
Okay.
And so and then real quickly, I love that the Jay wrote in and said what he's looking for: sex positive parties. And Jay, you've moved to a great city. I'm gonna send you some links to a bunch of them, things that I know here, because you say sex positive parties and groups. And I think that to me is kind of the key. I was talking about it on a Dark and Dirty extra episode that you can get. Um, and I was talking about the difference between sex positive and just having sex. And I think, Lincoln, wouldn't you agree, or Cody, there's so many examples here in New York that you could partake in?
Oh, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Oh, all
Yeah.
day, every day.
Just takes a little bit of research, and then you can find it.
And then tune in this week, because Cody and I on Tags Live on our Vulnerable Voices will be talking about that difference between sex addiction and sex positivity. So that should be juicy.
Ooh,
And
can't wait.
can't wait. Jay,
Very
stay
thin
tuned.
line between those
Thank-
two things.
Thanks for writing in, Jay. I will send you some links to some parties on Instagram. And if you want some sex or relationship advice, DM us on our Instagram at TAGSPodcast, because we are here for you. And lastly, this has come up: different people, different scenarios. As I've gone to sex positive parties recently, I was talking about it on the after show, and Dark and Dirty in particular this week, about parties like this. And and then another. So we had this thing when I was checking clothes in at this, it was a sex positive party, and we were adamant no phones allowed, and because they didn't want any photography obviously
That's
being
good.
taken. And
Yeah.
then a friend of mine was just telling me the other day that his friend was saying, oh, I was so pissed because we were at this another Fire Island party, and there's all these pictures floating around because somebody snuck a phone in and we're taking them. People, no photos at sex parties. I
No,
think
what
it's
is
just a.
wrong with you?
What are your guys' thoughts
Right?
on that? Like, it's just.
It's despicable. The lowest of the low.
Yeah,
It
not a
really
fan.
is. It really is. I mean, here you're trying to make people uninhibited and
Free. Yeah.
and a safe space. And most of these parties always say, no is no, respect boundaries. If somebody pushes your hand away. So there's all these things. The last thing you need, though, is somebody documenting it for who knows what. And you're going to make everybody flee. It's just so wrong. Please, people, do not pull your phones out at these parties. It's just, no, be in the moment, right? Live in the moment.
And
Oh my
not
gosh,
even
I
at
didn't
those.
even think of that aspect of it. Go ahead. What were you going
Yeah,
to say, Lincoln?
I was just gonna say the less. Did you just call me Michael?
No, I said Lincoln.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow. That's good.
He cut out a little bit there.
I just find phones anywhere these days just take it to such a basic level. They take any event. I turned last Wednesday was my birthday, and Peter took me to a great birthday dinner with two friends, and I did take photos of the birthday, and I haven't even looked at them yet because I was so into the party that I wanted to
Aw.
stay in it, and I'm still into it. I don't need to post everything. I feel like it's so common denominator, basic. Like you look at a concert and there's all phones all the time in the audience, and who's enjoying it anymore? I don't know.
And then you
Very
bring
down
in
about it.
like sex and
Yeah,
here.
intimacy and wanting to be adventurous and do things that you don't want it recorded. What are you
Yeah.
doing? It's so
You
I
bad.
don't.
actually-
And go ahead, Cody.
I actually know somebody who was recorded without them knowing it, and all of I think I've told this story on Tags Live before, and their whole office found out about it and saw the video, and
No.
it was horrible. And I felt
Oh
so
my
bad for that.
God. That's an extreme, horrible case. Yeah, I mean, that's probably number one. It can get to wrong people, your job,
Yeah,
just
and you wouldn't want that to happen to you, so why would you do it to other people?
right. And you
Right.
trust, and it takes so much for people to sometimes go to some of these events, even though they're sex positive. I mean, it takes just a lot of gumption and confidence and trust to even feel comfortable, and then to have the last thing you want is somebody photographing, videoing, all of that. No, I say no, no, and yes to sex positivity. More to come on that. This has been jam-packed, so much fun, guys. I want to thank you both. You can always follow Lincoln on both of his Instagrams at Protein Bakery, or his personal account. Maybe we'll get some pictures of his birthday on there, like
You
Madonna.
will. Yeah, and I have a birthday photo on there too. Yay.
Yeah. Okay, good. At Mad Lincoln.
Thank you,
Mad Lincoln. And follow Cody Maurice Doggett. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Love it, guys. Follow us at TAGSPodcast. And in the meantime, guys, thanks, guys. So much fun. Continue having hot, gay sex.
Yeah.
Hey, Tags listeners. Craving for more tags? Hungry like I am? Well, now you can unlock exclusive Tags content. I'm talking about our weekly Tags After Show and our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show. Now you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. You'll get a notice each week when new episodes are dropped exclusively for you. So what are you getting from this exclusive content? Well, you're getting a weekly Tags After Show where the conversation continues with hot gay sex topics in a more relaxed, behind-the-scenes, more intimate format. Our twice monthly Dark and Dirty Show will often feature special guests like my co-hosts, but gets a little darker and a little dirtier as we reveal our sexcapades to your exclusive ears. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe now to unlock exclusive Tags content and know that you'll be supporting Tags Podcast to continue delivering the quality of Tags Podcast you've come to love. You can unlock this exclusive content by going to tagspodcast.com and click on the link Tags After Show. Thanks for being a supporter and continue having hot gay sex.